Hello, good evening, KCYP. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Evolving in the RGV. Today we have a very special guest, one of my personal fashion icons.
Oh,
honestly, I swear. I can only name like 4 people that fashionably inspired me in the Valley. And you're for sure one of them. From day one. You're like, I better. Honestly, like, you're top.
Oh, thank you.
I know you don't really post your outfits anymore, but you're engraved in my mind forever.
I'll eventually I'll come back to it. I feel like I've gotten a little lazy on that part, but
you still got it, girl. I see you. Honestly, you and Jacqueline Marie,
I love like Jackie.
You and Jackie have inspired me so much. Like I owe you guys so much for everything that I'm doing now with fashion, because you guys made me feel like that I could do it too.
Oh, I love it.
For sure, 100%.
And now you're outshining us. I love to see it.
Of course not. No. You're a serial businesswoman, and I was gonna introduce you by naming the businesses that you're in, but I just found out there's more that I didn't even know about. So I'm gonna let that to you, girl. Let us tell everyone that is listening what you've been up to, what you're gonna be up to. Tell us everything.
Well, right now, honestly, I'm in some weird transition part of my career path. Cause
Mercury retrograde for you right now?
Well, it's just kind of something that I didn't know was gonna become so big has become so big, and it's kind of like I want to play it out. You know what I mean?
That's great though. Like,
yeah,
it's unexpected.
Yes. So I opened. I mean, I've done a lot. I've done the food industry. I've done the bar industry. Right now we have a sports complex going on my son's very into sports, and we wanted to do a business that was family oriented because all our other ones kind of haven't been. Well, Ice Cube was, but it was just so fast paced that my kids couldn't enjoy it. So I feel like this sports complex, my daughter's in volleyball, my son's in baseball. It's something we can all kind of, so that's our little family
and
project.
Your kids are all stars.
Oh, thank you.
So I've been trying to have her in the show for months, and she always has something with her kids, like
always
tournaments out of town. She's
always
in Vegas with her kids, not with her. Like,
yeah,
with her
no,
kids.
I have I'm not no fun. Honestly, it's my kids run my life. But so I did something for me that I really wanted to do was open a vintage store, and it wasn't even to make money. It was just something to have that was mine. Like, this one's for me and my family. This one's for this, and this one's mine. Like, I love vintage. I love the feeling clothes has always given me, whatever. So I opened a store, nothing to it. It's a little block. I don't know if you've seen, have you been a shop poser?
A million times.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
So it's like a little casita, a little block. Like, I'm talking size of my shower. And I didn't think much of it, but during the whole COVID shutdown or whatever, it was a little after COVID shutdown, but it was still very, like, if you had it, you had to quarantine for an X amount of days. So my employee that I had there couldn't work for about 2 to 3 weeks, it became. And I started getting kind of like, okay, I haven't been open. I have so much inventory I want to show, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a live. I'm going to do a live, and I'm going to sound like an idiot, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I have inventory that needs to move, and I'm just going to do a Facebook Live and do vintage and mostly outerwear because it's easy to style, and it's not like jeans where you're like, oh, like, you got to try on vintage jeans. You know what I mean? So I was, like, focused on outerwear, and then it just hit. And then it kind of just kept snowballing. I decided, because, with lives and anything computer related, there's like glitching. Yeah. And there's this and there's that. So customers were starting to like kind of argue with each other, like, oh no, and it's vintage. You have one of the pieces and that's it. For sure. That is it. So either you get it or you don't. And so actually it was John, my husband, came up with this like brilliant idea that it's always like that. I'm always against his ideas, and they're always so great, and then it sucks because it wasn't your idea. Fucking hate that. Sorry.
And he's gonna be rubbing it in your face.
So anyways, sorry, hubby. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to cuss. Anyways,
you can cuss here, girl.
I can.
Open space. You can cuss. You can speak your mind.
Well, you shouldn't have given me the green light for that.
It's green.
No, I'm just kidding. So anyways, he tells me, why don't you do bids? Like, if you like an item, start it at a lower price, and then if they really want it, they can bid, and then they can't get mad at you about it because they had the opportunity to bid. So then I was like, we'll try it. I don't think it's gonna work, but we'll try it. So sure enough, I showed my first item I ever bid off was a Cowboys 1996 starter jacket. So I'm showing it and I'm
and
like,
it's cute.
oh,
Like the
hella
bitches
cute.
want it. Like,
Yes. So I'm showing it and I was like, okay, the most I had ever sold an item on live was $35. That was the highest I had ever gone. So then I started it at 35 because it was a sick ass jacket. And then I was like, okay, guys, we're gonna start it. This one's $35. We're gonna start a bid, but if nobody bids against you, you take it for 35. So sure enough, I show the jacket and it was like 30. Everybody's like mine. So I was like, okay, the first person I see say mine was so and so. So she'll get it unless somebody bids. So then it went from 35, 45, 55, 100. It went all the way up to $300. That was my first item I ever bid, and I looked at John like, you had such a good idea.
Awesome.
Because not only did it become more fun for the people that were shopping, because now it's competitive.
Yeah.
Now it's like a little, like, you know,
It's
like
a
a little high.
game.
It becomes kind of like a game, yeah. Or like also like, oh no, girl, I'm gonna get it. Like I'm gonna get it, and it turns into. So now they've just become this big, like, kind of like a little mini event that we have, and I have them 3 times a week, and it's just become so big. And I'm like, okay, what do I? Facebook already monetized me. Is that how you say that?
Oh my god, like
I've made $240 from Facebook.
So you have
guys.
to go to check?
No, you get
No,
money from stars. Like, so your viewers can send stars, and I think every star is like a penny. So I have $240. I'm so excited. I feel
You're
so
rich.
official. I can't wait to have my little Facebook check.
This
with
is why
the
she
company.
went away from Instagram right now.
I
She's
know.
on Facebook.
Right now, it's all about Facebook right now. I'm cheating on Instagram.
For sure.
But so anyways, that has become so. I've been getting very invested into that world, where I've been getting like really big connections in the vintage world that are like selling to the same buyers as like stores in NY that you see ASAP Rocky wearing, and like celebrity shoppers are shopping with the same buyers that I'm buying from. Yeah, so I've just been climbing this little vintage ladder and like going to where eventually it's just so weird how it snowballed, but I feel so happy. Like all the businesses I've had, because I've done it all, I feel this one just feels so right. Like
It's fulfilling because
Yes.
it's a fashion.
it
Fashion is in you.
It is.
So you were like a fashion babe, but at the same time you were a businesswoman, and you
Yeah.
combined. You were trying to combine
Yeah.
both.
Well, I became business by chance. Like, I never cared. I went to school for journalism. Like, I wanted to work in a magazine company and be one of those, like, you know, Devil's
Yes.
Wears Prada type of girls, which I never really was, but I always wanted to be, but that really wasn't who I am. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
a bougie bitch. Like, I'm not, clearly. So, I really always wanted that. It was never who I was, and it's just crazy how, like, you can be a fashion girl. You don't have to be that kind of fashion girl. You know what I mean? But I was never a business girl. The reason I got into business was because I needed money. Like, I needed to eat. We were, like, dirt broke. I used to shop around at yard sales, other people's yard sales, and get some cute stuff, style it up, and then try to sell that. So that was my side. That's how I started. Was like staging yard sales just for like 30, 40, 50 bucks, so we could have like food and like, you know, maybe like a pirata movie or something for the evening, like
sneaking in the snacks
and
with it,
sneaking
like
in the snacks. Like, it was never any, but I learned that I loved business and loved selling from that. Like, as soon as I got to sell like my first little yard sale hustle, and there was a woman there, and she was like, and how would you wear this? Like, how would you wear this shirt? And I'm like, oh, girl, let me tell you. And then I started telling her how to wear it. She ended up buying, like, I think, like, 20 bucks of stuff I had. And I was like, oh, dude, this is fun. So then that's when I started going on Craigslist and looking. I would go to bougie neighborhoods, like, if they were having yard sales, because they would do the community yard sales, the gated communities.
Yeah.
So I would hit them up, and I would try to haggle with them and get all their, like, cool stuff. And then I would stage my own, like, stage. Like, I'm talking about, like, I had my tent. I would decorate the tent. And my yard sales were, like, that
You
yard
were
sale.
like a little dreamer.
Oh,
like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I didn't even know. Like, I had no idea that I even wanted to get into business. Like, I was just not getting hired by anybody. I had 2 little babies, so I couldn't have a full-time job. So this was like a little side hustle that just kept like snowballing, also the snowballing effect. So then it got to the point where I was a little bit funded to sell t-shirts. So I would sell t-shirts from my car, and I would sell them for $20, and I would deliver them to you, and I would take you like a cheap little, the mini wines.
Cute.
And I would hang out with you, but I wasn't really trying to make money. I was trying to make relationships, because I always told myself, like, when I own a store, I'm going to have my store with my list ready to go. I have all these girls that I can call that, okay, I'm opening one now. So it was all about
word of
relationships.
mouth. Day 1,
Yes.
Marketing skills.
Oh, yes, without even knowing it. I didn't even, like, so sometimes it was a bust, dude, like,
And this is something influencers nowadays don't have.
What?
Like, they have the followers, but they don't have the work ethic and the mouth to mouth and the relationships and the good vibes, the good energy, and the passion for things.
And I was super straight with my clients from day. No, I lie. They didn't know how hard it was. Like, they didn't know that I was like a sofa surfer. I didn't have a home. Like, we were like couch surfers really at one point in our life. During this part, actually, my t-shirt days. But so I met an amazing connection, which is one of my best friends now, which is Yvonne, the owner of Run a Dress.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, oh my God, like, how would you ever feel about like blogging for us? Like Instagram blogging type vibes, like pictures or whatever. We created a relationship, and then she's like, we should open a store together, but like, you're gonna have to kind of figure out how to like make it work, because I have Run a Dress. So we had a store that we couldn't afford. So she basically was like, I'm just trusting you to make it work. And I was like, okay. So then we put our heads together, and it was very, how do we pay rent with no money, right? So I was like, okay, there has to be other girls like me that love fashion. They love it, but they don't have the money to open their own store. So let's rent them a section. Like, we can rent that. We'll rent racks. Like, hey, you're going to have a section here for $200 a month. Do you remember that?
Pop-ups? This is where they started, girl.
Yes.
This is where they started.
Honestly, I will take that pat on the back, because I did feel like we were the first pop-up store.
I know, because I've been following the fashion for years now.
It wasn't even to be cute. We didn't have another way to pay rent. So I was like, okay, there has to be other girls like me that have they have $200 though. Like, I mean, if you really want to do it, you can figure out how to make $200. Sure enough, first month open, we filled all the sections. We had rent paid.
You hit me up. I think I have these messages.
Oh, I love it. Did I hit you up?
You hit me up. And honestly, I'll say it right here. I was not confident in myself to start this.
Oh, yeah.
This was
this was
6 years ago.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I opened Ice Cube 27. No, it was 2015. 15, 16.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
So then that's how we started the pop-up concept, and then we just kept growing from there. And like you said, we did have a little bad rep a little bit, because I didn't give anybody rules. Whatever the hell you wanted to sell, it's your store. The whole point of our store is to house other people's styles. So if you wanted to sell ravewear, go for it. Like, I'm not going to stop you. If you wanted to sell, I had the most random stuff in there at certain points. Like,
it was amazing.
Yeah, so it's just, I never said no to nobody. And the thing is you had to treat it as if, because the thing with pop-ups is, like, you want to make sure they stay, so you want to make sure they make money. So it's kind of, it got real intense, because I had so many stores that I was managing, but I mean, we made it happen, kept that dream alive. But I eventually had to sell Fashion House because Ice Cube got really big and they needed my help over there. And that was the first business I ever sold. And it's still my, like, it has
it's iconic. It's iconic. It's not open anymore, but it's so
it's
iconic.
Not. It was sold, and then eventually it shut down. But that store, I have so many memories. I met so many people, and one of the coolest parts is remember that book I was talking about from the t-shirts?
Mm-hmm.
There's on my vintage lives still today. So that's why I always say, like, relationships are so important. Like, say you have a customer that she bought something from you, if you ever go into clothes, which you should, you are not yet, right? You don't sell clothing yet?
I don't sell clothes yet. I style and I like.
I know you style.
Yeah, I style and I sell my stuff. Like I'll wear it like for like my special clothing that I'm not gonna wear again. I'll sell it on my stories, but never like just full on sell clothes. Which would be great though.
You should. I think you've done more than enough to like. You have that little book, like I'm telling you. You can start building it now before you jump into anything.
For sure.
But so I lost track of thought.
You were saying about you had to sell Fashion House because they needed you at Ice Cube, but
I know it had something to do with my little black book of customers. Oh, about maintaining relationships. Okay, so for instance, say you're selling an item, right? And you sell me a shirt that there's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful, right? And I paid you $200 for it, and you're like, damn, I made a badass sale. She paid $200 for it. And I tell you, and I've spent thousands of dollars with you. Like, I've been a customer for a long time.
Yeah.
And I tell you, you know what? Like, I don't like the way it fit me, or I saw that there was a snag, or like, do you think I can exchange it? The moment that you're like, no, it's a final sell, they are not going to shop with you anymore.
For sure.
They're not going to. And that's what a lot of people.
Lost trust.
I've seen it in a lot of stores. I've seen it for myself. Like, I've just seen it where people get very like defensive when it comes to sales, and that hurts that relationship, and it's like, it's not worth it. Just return it, and do it.
Someone else is gonna want it. Like,
you're fine. You're gonna be fine. Like, if it's something like a service that, or for instance, a hairstyle, like you're doing nails, you're doing hair, and they didn't like the way it looks, just offer them a free fix. Like, don't risk that they are going to blast you on social media. You do not need that stress. You do not need that bad publicity. Like, some people get blasted for like a $20 they didn't want to give back. Like, just maintain relationships. You're gonna be okay. Cool. Like, you can't pop off at I remember with Ice Cube, because it was going viral so fast, I had so much hate. As much as I had love, I had hate, and I would sometimes get flustered, and I wanted to like fight back, and I always kept my cool, and I was like, this is business. Look at how, not to compare myself to celebrities, but look at how much shit they get on social media,
and they ignore
all
it
the time.
Completely.
Like, they are getting judged from head to toe, from this to that. And that was a big thing about me doing lives, was like, I knew people were gonna be on it for the wrong reasons, and to be like, oh my gosh, like, she has to wear a filter in her life, because I can't wear makeup because I'll stain the clothes. So I'm there real, like, 10 filters on so that I look decent. And
is that why? I didn't know that.
What?
Good
why
point.
Why are you filters?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, I use filters. I can't wear makeup, and I'm gonna look like shit. So
hell yeah, I'm trying to sell this outfit.
Exactly, you need to look cute.
I want to look like, So, and I always say it on my lives too. I'm like, guys, because sometimes I'll wear a shirt with a face on it, and the filter gets on the shirt and gets off me. And I'm like, if that happens and we'll scare me and you together. Like, my apologies. But, so, I mean, that's another thing, too, with business. Like, you can't give a shit what people are going to say.
Can't. You're a strong girl, though. Has your character ever been tested where you had to come out and say...
Oh, my character has been... Oh, what do you mean? Say what?
Like, where you ever had to come online and, like, defend yourself? Defend your brand?
I've said things. It was mostly with Ice Cube because, like I said, that was my most viral business, my most talked about business. Like, I did so many interviews and so much for it. And yeah, I would sometimes have to be like, hey guys, like, honestly, we're a small business and maybe we're not for everybody, but like, come on, like, do you really gotta compare us to every single other, and even those I regret, because it's like, just focus all that and something else, a new recipe or something. Like, you don't need to pay attention to the noise. I've learned that throughout the years. I wish I knew that younger, because when I was baby Ashley coming into the fashion industry, that shit was not welcoming. Let's just put it that way. And like, you come in with like these big brown eyes, like, oh my gosh, like, I want to meet all these people and I want to do this, and then you find out real quick, like, no, you can't sit with us. It's very that.
Like, even I've learned it that way. Where
it's very that.
It's not as pretty as it looks. Like,
it's not.
Not everyone's good.
People aren't as welcoming, nice, or like,
And not everyone has the same heart as you do.
No.
For sure, for sure. Not everyone wants to work with you, partner up with you with good intentions. Sometimes it's selfish, and you just have to.
And sometimes
be
it's
bold.
very like they say, like, you don't want to meet your
idols.
Yeah,
your hero. You don't want to meet your hero, and it's very true.
Sometimes you don't want to, because, I mean, you're gonna like,
you're gonna be real disappointed.
You're gonna be real disappointed real fast. Let me tell you. But I mean, what I can say about that is, like,
if anything, it shows you what not to be.
It shows you what not to be, and it also just kind of gives you that extra oomph. Like, you know what? I'm still gonna fucking do it. Like, even though they're saying that this or that and this, like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way. I feel like when you learn how to do it your way, whatever it is, and you stop looking at, like, well, how did they do it? Or how does she do it? And how does he do it? And it's like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. That's such a game changer.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I always wanted to be that, like, that little New York girl. And that was never who I was. And it was something I wanted to be for I don't even know what reason. And then when I was like, okay, this is me.
Yeah, you thought that was it. And
I thought that was
once you found yourself along the way, you're like, you know what? I don't want to be that New York it girl anymore.
No,
it's me, and like I'm cooler.
Yeah,
because you're more real. Like, you're more relatable.
Yeah, I love it, and I like owned it. Like, I've owned being like who I am. Really,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't even put me in a box because I can be so many different. Like, I'm an emo girl, and then like right now I'm wearing a grandpa sweater. There's like so much.
Yeah, I have like a different theme every day.
There's
too.
so much going on here, but I think that's why we relate to fashion so much, because there's no rules in fashion, like, at all. And then once you do start categorizing it gets boring.
For sure. Like, I could never dress like an office girl every day.
Oh no.
Like,
and even like I go to Walmart in like John's boxers, like half a chongo, like looking a hot mess, and I see these at 6 a.m. because I need to like do a run, and I see these women in like full makeup, dressed to the nines, even in joggers, like still dressed to the nines, and I'm like, I can't ever be that.
You're telling me that right now. You're like, how do you always look good?
You do always look good though.
I mean, most of the time, but I have my days too. Don't get me wrong.
And I just blame it. I'll always blame it on my kids. Like, it's 'cause I'm a mom, guys. Like, the kids had me up all. Nah, they're all old already, and I'm still there.
No, your kids are all dressed up.
I know.
They're
They always look on point. But
for sure.
Yeah, I go to 0 to 100. I'm this and I'm that. But it is what it is. I'm here for it. I own it now.
Yes. but you've really done it all. You even hosted fashion shows.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's how I started. Backtrack. Rewind button. 2015.
Those were the coolest fashion shows, man.
Thank you. Well, I'm still gonna have one. I'm gonna have one in January. I was supposed to have one in December, but it's gonna be pushed a little back to January.
The latest one was last year's, right?
Last year's, yes.
Yeah, I was part of it. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's because everything went wrong. Like,
there
was no Wi-Fi, so the tracks that I had for each runway show couldn't happen. We were just going by whatever the DJ wanted to play. Could have played the damn chicken song. Like, we had no say. There was no Wi-Fi, and it was like a $2,000 venue. I was like, you're telling me this now? But we made it work. The audience didn't know, but backstage it was a hot mess. But I mean, that's always how it is, though. I mean, they're chaotic and fun, and I always say every time I have one, I'm like, I'm not doing this shit again. And
you had a fish. You had a fish on your last fashion show.
Yes,
it's crazy. I mean, but you have your good friendship with Fish.
Oh yeah, so actually, Fish was at my very, very first fashion show back in 2015 as a like a mentor, kind of. And that's because they were like way younger, like 16. But I had no idea what I was doing.
Fish is now like modeling in New York and Vogue and
every paper magazine,
Fashion Week, and where was he? Paris, or I saw him in a picture with Bella Hadid.
Oh yeah, Paris Fashion Week for Balenciaga.
Guy's making it.
Yeah, all over.
That's awesome.
Over.
So proud of him.
Yeah, we kept a really good relationship, and I've kept a good relationship with a lot of people, like Jacqueline Marie, as you were mentioning. Oh my God, loved her.
I love her. I interviewed her too, and I was like, when I was here, I kind of had a moment. I'm like, oh my God, I looked up to her so much. The same way with you.
I love it.
And now we get along so good. We go out, we have fun. Like, she's awesome. She's good
dope.
vibes.
She's good vibes. She's always been good vibes. She was one. I had a lot of. Okay, like, let's backtrack.
She's one that like you don't get those like envidiosia vibes.
No,
like
she was
and
one of
she's
the
so
only
supportive.
ones.
Even
Yeah.
if we're doing the same thing, like
Oh yeah,
we're so supportive of one another.
Yeah.
I love her.
She
Good people.
was one of the only ones. I remember I invited like all the like most like a few influencers back in the day to Fashion House, and I was like, hey, my store is open to you guys for styling. Like you guys can style it, but it's like free clothes for shoots. I can use it for. She was the only one that like took me up on that offer. My Jacqueline, I love her.
Yes, she's awesome. One time I was shopping too for I think I needed black boots, and she messaged me. She's like, "Dude, I got them. Like, you can just borrow them whenever."
Yeah, I rented out stuff from her too because I know she has it, and I'm like, I know you have a pink Lady Gaga hat. Rent it to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I have one.
Yeah. She's
of
like,
course you do.
Racks and racks and racks, girl.
Yeah.
Let's switch them together. And I'm like, any day, yeah. Like I already use my
good
stuff.
Vibes. She's good vibes, and I feel like that's why she grows a lot. Her head doesn't get too big.
No, she stays humble.
I mean, there's
grounded.
nothing wrong about being proud of yourself. Like it's a really sometimes like you can sit back and be like, wow, like I did all this, like I did this, and that's fine. But once it becomes where you get in your own way, like you don't want, like you stop yourself from growing because you feel like you're above working with other people. I feel like you get stuck. I've seen it happen so much.
There's a difference where you're confident enough and you know your self-worth rather than you think you're better than everyone else.
Yeah.
You just need to know how good you are with your self-worth and be confident that way.
Yeah, I think when you're confident in your craft and what you're doing, everybody else can come out and start doing the same. It could be the same thing you're doing, but if you're confident in your own craft, hey, you don't even have to pay attention.
Exactly.
Because you're confident in yourself, your sales, and your relationships.
Yes.
In any business, whether it be hair, I know the hair business is competitive. Mm-hmm. Every business is competitive. I was with a friend who opened a car wash, like the ones that they go mobile car washes. And like they have like beef with other mobile car washes.
It's
and
crazy.
I was like, oh
everyone.
my god, this is in every business. Like that's so crazy. But I mean, it's easy. It's competitive. It's money. It's food on the table for your family. Like I totally can see where it's like. I mean, businesses. Like they say, a dog eat dog world. Like
yeah,
it's my family fed or your family fed. But that's not a mentality that technically needs to happen. If you're confident in your own craft.
Yes.
Because you're gonna kill it no matter what.
Yeah, it's like now there's a lot of vintage shops too.
Oh yeah, and there's been vintage shops before me. There's gonna be vintage shops after
you, and people are still gonna go to all of them, and they're gonna choose.
But what I did differently was I created a new little sauce with that whole bidding. I had never seen before.
Yeah.
So now that's where my confidence comes in, and like I'm not like the other ones because I created and now people want to do it. Well, you didn't create it though. You know what I mean? So that's where my confidence stays. Like, okay, well, y'all can do whatever, but I know what I created, and it'll always be like mine. That's the like what I would say, like, to take away from any business you want to open. It can be the same thing as your neighbor, but if you create it in a different realm and you make it your own, it's like Ice Cube with the raspas. It's exactly like that. We created a new visual look to raspas, and that was ours, and nobody can take that away. You know what I mean? Like, everyone can do it now, but that was something we created, and we totally changed the raspa game. Like, honestly, I can say that very proudly. Yeah. Because I had never seen it like that before.
And everyone knows Ice Cube.
Yeah, and so anything that now with anything that I open, I always keep that in mind. Like, okay, I'm going to open this, but how am I going to make it me? Like, what is going to be different than this, than that? And that is where, because like I said in the beginning, my vintage shop was supposed to be just for me. Like, something small, cute. The lives were kind of just to get rid of inventory. But when that bidding happened, it really created like a, whoa, we just did something new. And like, it's killing it and it's working. And okay, where are we going to take this next?
Yeah.
So that's the fun thing about kind of that's where you become like, you know, a creator. You're coming up with new concepts and ideas. You're not just opening a business. So that is one thing I would say to take away when you decide to open your own, whatever it is, because I know you will. You got to put that Elsa spin on it.
my little sauce.
Your sauce. You need all that sauce.
Share what you were what you shared with me when we were before we went live. I
Which
asked
part?
you. Yeah, which part? You shared something about why you would why you open businesses and then you sell them.
Oh yeah.
Like
so
what inspired you? There was something that was said to you that you
every business that I've had up to date has been sold. So I had give me 1 second.
Go for it, girl.
Text the address to this place before
Okay.
you tell me a completely different one. Like she gave me the wrong address, FYI. She sent
What
me
did
to
I tell
Alton.
you? Which one did I tell you?
Marlene Street instead of Main.
Can I just drop my pin?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Send current location. Hee.
Did it work?
I should.
We're like, look at my case. AI. See, I can never be bougie. Okay, so
That's how I felt.
I've opened a decent amount of businesses, I would say, and I've sold them all. I was telling Elsa, I've never actually closed a business. I've always sold them. And it's not so much that like I'm ready to sell them at some points, but when I was first getting into business, and like I said, when I got into business, it was more of a survival mode tactic, not because like I want to go to business school and I want to be a businesswoman. Like it was very like, okay, how do I get money to eat, right?
It was reality.
Yes.
Like
So as I started growing in it, one of my really good friends that became business partners for Fashion House, her dad was in business. He's a businessman. He's like the real deal. And he told me something that stuck with me forever till this day. He said, successful business people do not open businesses to slave them forever. They open them to grow them, make them valuable, and then they sell them and they profit from them. And then they go off and they, kind of just create this little pattern. So it kind of stayed with me because when I was in all the sauce with like Ice Cube and it was this huge thing, but it was also taking 18 hours of my life a day. Like it was a full thing for 2 years straight.
yeah.
So they're texting me when I'm gonna go live.
Boy, we
Sunday,
are live.
Sunday. No, like
No.
for the bids. I'm telling you,
Oh.
it's an addiction.
That's amazing.
Oh, so him telling me that kind of, made me, I've been following that little advice, and it to this day this is the first time, I love every business I've opened, I've loved, I've learned, but this vintage one is the one I feel
completely fulfilled all in one.
fulfilled, and that I'm going to make probably the biggest because I'm so focused on growing it. I don't know exactly how. I don't know I know it's not gonna just stay a store. I don't know if I'm gonna become a wholesale buyer eventually and kind of be that route to like all the, because I'm telling you, I'm climbing this little vintage social ladder and I'm going and I'm going and I'm going, and it's like, okay, where's it gonna lead me to? So we'll see.
You should throw bids in your fashion show.
I should.
Like we're walking bids.
Well, this fashion show, I wanted to do it kind of like Victoria's Secret vibes where they have like live music and the models are walking around the music. Like I wanted a drummer and I have all these ideas, and that's why I'm being picky with the venue because I know what I want.
You should do it. Go for it.
I am.
Don't stop it. Yeah. Go all out.
I'm gonna go all out. Period.
Do it for the culture. We deserve it.
Yes.
Hey, what do we have it here?
Oh, we should have it here.
Can we talk to someone, Joe? You think we
Ooh,
can borrow
connections. Show us your
it? Did we just do a thing live?
Is this? Are we committing to this? Pro bono? I'm just kidding.
Are we shaking hands, Joe?
Sure, let's do it.
We'll find out, guys.
I'm down. That would be so cool.
Look,
we can add art to the mix. Like, you know
Hell
what
yeah.
I mean?
There's stairs. We can do something with
we
the
can
freaking
do
stairs.
something. I'm always down, especially if we can collab this. Oh,
Let's
even
do
more
it.
down.
And it's already called the McAllen Creative Incubator.
There you
So
go.
it goes hand in hand.
There you go. And my store's down the street.
Ooh, Joe, we just did a thing. Can we make it a parade? Like it's a parade, and then like boom, you're in the fashion
Oh
show.
my gosh, yes, walking down from
Hey.
shop poser to the incubator.
Yes, we can talk to like a drummer from like a high school or something, and
Yeah, because
You
of
have
the
the drummer?
bar, I've had live music. So I have a drummer on standby, girl. I have a Travis Barker ready to go. And we'll style him. I'll put him in a fur coat.
yes, some badass shades.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yes, Joe, we need to talk to someone ASAP.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Dunzo.
Cheers.
We just need a date.
Yeah, we just need to decide on that. Okay, so we have someone here with us. This chair.
Sorry.
She came to shadow us, and she has a really interesting question
Ooh,
for
let's hear
Ashley.
it. Nervous.
Introduce yourself as.
I don't know if it's on.
Is it John?
We're on.
John?
Is it on?
Joe?
Hello?
John's-
Hello?
You're on the air.
Okay, I'm on there. Hello. I know you were talking about not burning bridges.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I know you like focused on that super heavily.
Mhm.
So the question would be if it's somebody super influential,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like a rude ass bee.
Yeah.
And you can't stand them. They're like talking all this stuff about you. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, do you burn that bridge? Do you continue being fake? Cause
Oh, well, that's not
being
even a
fake is,
bridge
like-
in the to begin with. That was
It's a
never a
shithole.
bridge.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
a shithole you
say it's
cover
like,
it.
Like somebody like that you.
I get
need
you,
in your
though.
Business, you know what I mean?
I get you that you thought somebody
Yeah.
could help and then they end up becoming like a burden.
Yeah,
Or
so,
like even just like for instance, my store is named Poser for the very reason that when I was coming into the business, I wanted so badly like, oh, mentor me to someone. I didn't ask them to mentor me, but I asked them to be in one of my shows, and I was like so like big brown eyes, like, oh, like this person and this person, and you look up to people or whatever, and she didn't know that she was on speaker. So it was kind of like a third party. So she's asking if I can, like, should we be in the show or whatever, and she's on speaker. Meanwhile, she doesn't know I'm there. Fuck no, we're not gonna be in that poser's show. Like, she's so-and-so, and she's a poser, and poser. I heard poser like 10 times, and I was like, you know what? The next time I open a store, I'm gonna fucking name it poser because I proved myself in this industry. But, yeah. So that just goes, and I could have been like, damn, I'm not gonna do my show. That's embarrassing. Like, this is what people think of me. But I still had it. I had my little $5 a pop show. It was $5 to get in. My mom did the hair and makeup. Like, it was so, but I was so proud of
That's
that. I'm
awesome.
still proud of that show.
That's awesome. Hell
Yeah. Hell yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of shitty to hear it. It wasn't to my face. To this day, I don't know if she knows that I heard that conversation, but I did. And the girl on the phone was kind of in shock.
Fuck.
Like, oh shit. But she was kind of being messy and left it on speaker. So I was just like, you know what? It's fine. Like, you don't have to be part of the show. I just came to ask. I have a few other stores, that are participating. And, thank you for your time. But yeah. So, man, I hadn't even heard the word poser since junior high until then. And it stayed with me. So I opened a store named Poser. And that's the story of Poser.
They lack something that you have and they want. So
I don't even know if it was that. I just feel it's very, like, it's that big head syndrome. Like, they think that they can ask us. You know what I mean? Like, her.
yeah.
Us. No. So that's more what it was. I know she wasn't, like, jealous of me. Come on, I had nothing. I was a little poor girl selling shorts from my car. But it was kind of more like, we're too good for you. And it's like, you don't do that.
No.
You don't do that, and
Also, they
and
didn't
there's
start
ways to
somewhere.
say no. There's ways to say no. Like, I've had to reschedule this so many times with Elsa because I've been busy and been doing things. But you know what I mean? There's ways to just be like, I can't right now, even if it's because she just did not want to do it. Just be like, oh, we're busy. Say something to where it's not rude. To be fair, I don't think she knew she was on speaker. But, yeah, that's where Poser came from. But as far as bridges burned, I mean, I've had many this is the thing with us as, like, girls, I would say, is that our relationships can be so strong. And, like, you can't hate someone unless you've loved them before type of vibes.
For sure.
And not anytime, like I said, I've met amazing people, but sometimes you'll see someone as, like, a mentor. That's when things get scary. Because you're already seeing them as this. That's where the real heartbreak comes. So I would be very careful with getting like, oh, I want a mentor, or I want to like be very, very careful. I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm just saying in my experience,
Yeah.
I've been hurt more than helped. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as far as burning bridges goes, I'm talking about more so if you want to be a businesswoman or a business person, you know, and you want to be able to be selling businesses, you got to make sure what you're selling is working. Because now let's say, okay, I burned all these bridges and I'm trying to sell something. They're going to ask. They're going to ask other people I've sold to or ask around, and people are going to be like, fuck no, she's a scammer. Because I've heard that about certain people too. Like, oh, you know, like, don't get into business with that person, or don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the last thing I would ever want. That's so embarrassing. Like, why would I want to be that person that's like, don't work with her. Don't work with her. Don't work with her.
Yeah.
Which maybe they have said about me, which wouldn't make sense because I always try to make sure, like, everything's fair and, like, everything's, like, kind of that people pleaser, kind of little people pleaser vibes. And I think that's where my hurt comes from. With the mentors. Because you want to please them, and then, you know, they hurt you, and it's like, oh, shit. Like, I don't know. It's happened to me a lot. So I just think, I don't think a mentor is needed. I think you just got to believe in yourself, and you got to know who you are, and you got to know what you're bringing to your own fucking table, because that is when the game changes.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Period.
Even me, I've been hurt by my own mentor a lot.
Same.
Or someone that I look up to, and it hurts
Yeah.
like a bitch.
No, it sucks. It sucks, and it's kind of like I contemplated one of the people that I saw as like a mentor, kind of made a dig. That was like, you know, like I kind of feel like you're falling off, like you should kind of do something else. Like, I don't see, like, you growing. And I thought about quitting, like, the fashion world. This is back in fashion house days when all my life was fashion. So that kind of made me, and it was around during New Year's. So it was like, okay, like, you're that New Year, new vibe. Like, maybe I should go a different direction, but I couldn't figure out, I don't know what else, you know, was my calling. And it just played with my head, because this is somebody you look up to, somebody that's supposed to be guiding you somewhere, and they're telling you what you're doing isn't good enough. So it sucks. So you got, like, honestly, other voices that aren't positive, you know, turn them off. Just be your own voice. I talk to myself out loud. I'm not joking. I literally talk to myself out loud. I like to take baths, not showers, baths. And I'm talking to myself. I ask myself questions, and I sound crazy, and my kids think I'm crazy. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but it's because I feel like as creators, like people who are in business and creating, our minds never turn off, and sometimes we need to shut it up ourselves by talking over it. So I do that. Oh, also another really important thing I will mention, as far as business goes and as far as growing in business and life, you need a supportive spouse. You need a supportive spouse. You do. I am so grateful that John is, like, he's been so good. Like, I'm telling you, he gives me ideas for, like, the lives. He's, like, fashion, everything. Like, he's such a quiet, meek guy. You would never think. Man, his ideas are always outdoing mine, and it's so annoying. But I've seen it in friendships where she's growing and he's holding her back, and she's growing and he's holding her back, and it's like, it hurts me, because it's like, no, like, in both, it works both ways. Sometimes it's the wife, like, sometimes it's the wife, like, you know, you're working too much, your mind's too much into this, and, you know, blah blah blah. So it's like, I don't know, somehow, some way, y'all gotta just figure out how you both can
build your temple.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, you know, throw him some ideas, he throws you some ideas, and everybody's just talking about ideas instead of getting annoyed that you're talking about it so much. And then, you know, they'll see that you're using their ideas and it's working, and then it just becomes so beautiful. But, yeah, I think that's so important too.
You and John have created so much, man.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's crazy when I really sit back and think about it. It's crazy because we've done them all together.
literally, he's in all your shows.
Yeah, he's in all my
He's
shows.
in everything.
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy.
and it's fashion, you know, he can easily be like, okay, that's girl stuff. Like,
No,
you take care of that.
yeah.
He's there.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to business and your spouses, it's like, hey, it's revenue for both of you. You want both each other to succeed because it's in the same household.
Representation of each other, man.
Yeah, but sometimes, and also, like, I know some in relationships, like, the man wants to be the star of the show. And in this case, I'm the star.
I was gonna say,
I'm the main
I'm
star.
the star.
So in this case, but honestly, like, I am always the one that's talking. He's super quiet, super chill. You probably won't ever hear him say a word. He's full of ideas, but, you know, he's, like, on his, like, quiet. So, you know, and he's okay with me being, like, I don't even think he did one interview for Ice Cube from those 2 years of chaos. and interviews.
Really?
Yeah.
It was just you?
Just me. I mean, they'd mention him, but, I mean, they would ask him something, and he's like, she's got it. Like, I'm not even going to say anything. Like, he wouldn't say anything. And I mean, it's not his vibe. I mean, you got to know your role too, and business partners too. If you ever get a business partner,
You both can be the star.
know your role. Know your role. Know your strength, because it's gonna end bad if you're trying to both be the head. You know, someone's got to be the other parts of the body. You know.
Complete each other.
Yes. So yeah. Any other questions?
Any questions? Nope. It's good.
Okay.
Ashley, well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here with me. I enjoyed it
you.
so much. Do you have anything that you want to let
Anytime.
the people know? Anything that you want to promote?
If you feel like, you know, bidding against some women for some badass vintage, hit me up on Facebook. Right now, I've been, like, super into Facebook because I'm monetized, and I feel like so bad bitch right now because I have $200 in my Facebook account. So I've been kind of staying away from Instagram, also because I sell a lot of fur, and Instagram canceled me when I sold
Really?
it. Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah, I
man.
got my first. I tried it on Instagram, and I was like, and everybody was like tagging PETA. I was like, all right, I'm going back to Facebook. But
where people are more.
But I'm like, but
streets.
it's vintage. It's vintage though, you know, like it's not fast fashion.
So tell them, where can they follow you and where can they find you? What social media networks do you use?
Well, right now, honestly, I'm doing everything for my personal, which is just Ashley Vasquez. I haven't even created. I have a poser page. I don't even use it. I'm telling you, all of this happened so fast. I haven't even, like, sat down to make it, like, okay, do I make a Facebook page for this and go this direction, or how to? I've been doing everything for my personal. But it does feel like it's a little more personal because now that, like, customers are seeing my statuses and they feel like they know me a little better.
Yeah.
And things like that. But I mean, on Instagram too, I've changed it so many times. What am I?
I think
Who
you're
am
Ashley.Vasquez.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Ashley
Well, yeah.
Vasquez. Pretty much, I'll pop up.
And her profile picture is a picture of her when she was little.
Oh yeah, I
Which-
changed that. I don't even know. I haven't really been posting pictures of myself, probably because I gained like 20 pounds.
You look good, girl.
I gained opening a bar. I gained
And
20
working-
pounds when I opened that bar. Let me tell
Once you work the nightlife.
Yes, period.
I had gained a lot of weight when I was working in nights.
Yes,
too.
I barely got it. Like, I'm barely getting back into a rhythm of, like, a sleep schedule.
You
Like,
look thinner from last year when I like.
You
the last,
think so?
The last time I saw you was last year's fashion show.
You think I look thinner from
Yeah.
then? I'll take it.
You're like,
Yeah, bikini season.
girl.
I'm ready.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much for coming. Thank you for everyone that is tuning in and listening to us right
Yes.
now and that are going to listen
Also,
to us
fashion
later.
show here in January. It's already been told.
Joe's in
Signs-
the back nodding his
Signed,
head.
sealed, delivered. Alrighty.
Bye, guys.